Hello everyone, I'm Meteorologist Chesley McNeil with the latest on Hurricane Debby. Has made landfall over Steinhatchee. Is that the right way to say it, Jerry Carn? Steinhatchee? Steinhatchee, Florida. Steinhatchee, Florida. That is just north of Cedar Key in that particular area. In fact, we can zoom in on here a little bit and show you. Steinhatchee is where the storm has made landfall. Jerry Carnes is from Florida, which is why I got that confirmation there. But you can see Cross City there, just across from that, or just to the east of that, or west of that rather, right there along the coast is Steinhatchee. That's where the storm has made landfall as a Category 1 hurricane, packing winds up to 80 miles per hour as it continues to slide further inland now. In fact, the entire eye of the storm has not quite made landfall all of yet, but you notice the heaviest part of the storm is on the right side of the storm, or on the eastern side. And so you can see all the rainfall and those tropical storm force winds, hurricane force winds impacting Florida as we speak. So Gainesville has been pounded by the rain. Ocala over toward Jacksonville even pounded by the rain. And you still have a ways to go there, especially for Lake City. Some of the heaviest or strongest winds headed in that particular area as we speak. This will continue to slide further off to the north and move over into our state as well. Already starting to see some of that heavy rain in the southern portions of the state. We'll start to get some of those tropical storm force winds and then eventually hurricane force winds making their way into the southern portions of the state as we head through mid-morning and into early afternoon. Right now over our area, not much, as you can see in North Georgia. The storm far enough away from us that it's not causing much of a problem at all, at least here. We will get some of those clouds. In fact, you can see the clouds back off to the south and east of us, those clouds building, all right, over into our southernmost counties. Eventually they'll make their way into the metro area as well. Mix of sun and clouds is what we'll call it for today. That's going to help to keep our temperature down a little bit as well. And those winds out of the east as well will get a little bit stronger today. Now, when I say strong, as far as the winds go, I mean 15 miles per hour. As far as sustained winds go, 10 to 15 miles per hour. The gusts will be a little bit higher than that, of course, at times. We'll be watching for that. But for the most part, our winds will be sustainable. Now, it is trash day for some, like in my neighborhood, so hopefully you have enough in there that it won't blow your trash cans around or even knock it over. All right, so they may have a tough time this afternoon picking up some of that. As far as, again, a Category 1 hurricane at the 7 o'clock hour, all right, making landfall as it continues to push further inland, will start to weaken somewhat, but you're still going to have hurricane force winds right on into the central portions of the state of Florida, and then eventually making its way up toward the north. Let me get the latest track on here. You can go ahead and take the graphic full, and let's get the latest track on here. That track shows that the storm will stay in the southeastern portions of our state, all right, as a tropical storm as it moves through the state. So the southern portions of the state and the eastern portions of the state will feel the biggest brunt from this. Now, this is the latest track from the Hurricane Center as of 7 a.m. And you'll notice that the storm, they have it pushing a little bit further over toward the east. So you have this wide area of uncertainty, this big cone up here. Once you get up towards South Carolina, big cone of uncertainty there. But it doesn't stretch all the way into North Georgia. You got the far eastern portions of North Georgia in the cone of uncertainty. If it stays on this latest track right here, then you're talking about mainly nothing for us, all right? And so more of an easterly push. Now, can it push back to the west? That's certainly possible. It could change its course, but right now, the very latest from the Hurricane Center shows it going out to sea, moving right through our state, the southeastern portions of our state. That'll be today and into tonight. Then it pushes off into the ocean and then back up to the north over into South Carolina, eventually North Carolina. And again, that cone of uncertainty means that it could sway a little bit further to the west or a little bit further to the east. The further east it goes, the less of an impact for us. And even with those winds I was telling you about, they would start to cease a little bit as well. But as it curves back up to the north, it starts to bring that cone of uncertainty a little bit back further over toward our way. And you'll notice that it would have to go through central portions of South Carolina for us to start to feel some of these impacts, but it's going to take a straight northerly turn, if you will, once it makes that landfall, or once it comes back out to sea and heads up toward the Charleston area. So we're watching for that. Now, as far as our impacts go, you can see where the hurricane warnings that are in effect over Florida, of course, where it's making landfall, but they do extend into our southernmost counties. That's that red area that you see right there. And then that blue area surrounding the red is tropical storm warning, where you get tropical storm force winds. That's in the far southeastern portions of the state. And then that yellow is for the tropical storm watch, all right? And that is south of the Macon area. Okay, so you talk about tropical storm force winds as far north as about Swainsboro or over towards Statesboro. All right, doesn't even make it into Americus or Perry. Now, of course, outside of that, those winds will start to pick up for the Macon area, even up our way as well. Those winds will begin to pick up a little bit, but we don't have any tropical storm watches or warnings over our area. Rainfall, of course, the heaviest rainfall will be over toward the coast. It will be over toward the Savannah area. Tidewater, mainly along the eastern seaboard is where you're going to find the heaviest rainfall. How much rainfall? You're talking about anywhere between 8 and 10 inches of rainfall possible. All right. Now it starts to drop off rapidly as you move a little bit further inland up toward Atlanta. Our model showing nothing. Right? There will be some isolated showers around. So some isolated areas could catch a brief heavy downpour. This is the tropical air mass that we're talking about. We still have the heat and humidity with us. And so any thunderstorms that happen to develop in our area could drop some brief heavy rain, but it's very, very isolated at best. And so the further east that is, the less of a chance, even lesser of a chance. So I'm gonna give it a 20 to 30% chance for this afternoon. For the most part, a lot of us won't see anything at all. We'll see a little bit of sunshine out there, but that'll be it. All right, for today. And then as the storm continues to trek further off to the north, can't see it here, but you can see how that yellow is just added on over here toward the east and further up the eastern seaboard. But it doesn't change for us because that center of circulation is far enough away that we're not seeing it. Look at your flood threat. The flood watch for all of southeastern portions of the state. In fact, you even have warnings right now in the southern portions of the state where that rain is now starting to push a little bit further off to the north. And then it starts to hook mainly over toward the north and east. So over toward Columbia, South Carolina, down through Charleston. That's where a lot of that flooding rain will be. For us, we're not going to get much at all. And fortunately for us, it's going to stay that way for much of this week. We'll see those temperatures get back to around 90 this afternoon. We'll stay there for Tuesday, a little bit of a dip, and then get right back up there again as we head toward the end of the week. That area of low pressure, or that storm, was remnants of Debby, if you will, as it continues to push further off to the north. Down here to the south, we'll have that easterly flow coming in. As it gets further off to the north, we'll have a northerly flow coming in. And typically that's a drying agent for us, and so we'll see that. The wraparound from that, of course, the wind's picking up a little bit, but we should stay on the drier side of this. Your flood threat in our southeastern fringe counties, if you will. So over toward Milledgeville, over toward Edge Hill, Warrington, that's where you'll see some of that flooding rain. And even up as far north as Warrington and over toward Edge Hill, you're not talking about a whole lot of rain, maybe up to 2 inches of rainfall in some of these areas. Not even into the Macon area. Certainly they'll get some rain there as well, but not as much to cause for a flood watch or anything like that, especially as you head toward Locust Grove, Henry County, Peachtree City. Not much at all. Not much at all, if any, at far north. All right, if it stays on this latest track. And again, that could change on us just a little bit. So if you look at the winds will be anywhere between 10 and 15 miles per hour, but the gusts will be a little bit higher. So you're talking about a gust in excess of 20, 25 miles per hour. And we'll see that as we head into the afternoon. Stopped it here. This is our model. Stopped it here at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock this afternoon, you're looking at wind gusts at times up to about 20, 25 miles per hour at times. Now that will start to die down tonight, back down to 15 mile per hour gusts, and then it will start to pick up again by tomorrow afternoon as that area of low pressure starts to slide a little bit further northward. All right, notice our winds as far to the southeast as Edenton, for example, at 20, 25 miles per hour. Same with Thomaston. That area of low pressure continues to slide further off to the north, and notice how it picks up a little bit. Maybe 30 mile per hour winds down toward Thomaston and over toward Edenton. Here in the metro area, still talking about 25 mile per hour wind gust. Okay, so those are the gusts. Sustained winds, again, 10 to 15 miles per hour. So we'll spiel it again on Tuesday. Tuesday, again, only featuring a 30% chance for an isolated shower to pop up. It's the winds that we'll feel around here, but sustainable, certainly sustainable. We're not talking about tropical storm force winds. We're not talking about hurricane force winds. We're just talking about the wind gusts picking up on us a little bit. Even as we head into Wednesday, notice the area of low pressure, according to the model, will be almost due east of us, and that will continue to slide further off to the north. During the afternoon, we'll catch those wind gusts once again, especially for our far eastern cities like Athens and down toward Edenton. The rest of us up to about 20 mile per hour gusts as that continues to push right on through. So it's the winds more of a threat around here. All right. And so the impact will be the winds, especially for today. We're talking about from noon till about 9 o'clock this afternoon, the impact will be those wind gusts up to 20 to 25 miles per hour. What can that do? Well, it's just a bit breezy on the outside. Today, for example, I mentioned earlier that it is trash day in my neighborhood, right? So maybe gusty enough that it could blow over a trash can that maybe only has one bag in it, that kind of thing, right? We're not talking about blowing it away or even further down the street, but certainly a gust could just knock it over. All right, you're talking about that kind of impact around here. All right, maybe minimal, but it's still an impact, right? And so any loose items that you have around, small items that you may have on your back patio, your lawn furniture, just let the umbrella down. Right, because the winds could get under that umbrella and maybe knock over that table. If you have a glass table, you don't want anything like that to happen to that. And so things like that, you want to anchor those things. And again, put the umbrella down, close it for today if you don't have to be out there. It's still going to be a decent day for us. We will get decent amounts of sunshine around the forecast area. So you may want to go outside. Again, it will be a bit breezy with those winds gusting at times around the area. Here's how it plays out for us. Our forecast track model, you can follow along with me with the time right there in the corner of the screen. You'll notice how clouds are building in our forecast area for today. They're building. So we'll start off with some sunshine as kids are going back to school. In fact, today is the first full week of school for a lot of kids. So could be first timers, didn't get a chance to go back Thursday of last week, wanted to play a few more days of summer, get them in. And so today, if it's your first day of school, at least you're going back to pleasant conditions. Temperatures are in the 70s starting off this morning. It is a touch muggy on the outside and will be muggy as we head through the afternoon. Of course, this is a tropical air mass that's over the area right now. Anywhere from partly to mostly cloudy skies will be the call as we head into the afternoon. Very small threat for an isolated shower too. Most of that rainfall will stay down to the south and east of us, okay? And so you're talking about even farther than Macon. All right, that far south is where we'll find that steady, heavy rainfall, then over toward the east. This will be by Tuesday morning. We start off the same way. Anywhere from partly to mostly cloudy skies will be our start. When we get to the afternoon, we're looking at an isolated shower or thunderstorm. Look, nothing much over here. All the way over toward the east, all right, headed toward Augusta is where you're going to start to see on Tuesday a lot of that heavy rain starting to push a little bit further off to the north. We'll have a northeasterly flow coming in, and so those winds will be up to 15 miles per hour. Gusts could be as high as 20 miles per hour. Here we go into Wednesday, pretty much the same, partly to mostly cloudy skies to start off the morning. I don't even think we'll see a shower. Now, notice how the rain starts to pull a little bit further out, going over toward the east. That lowers the rain chance for us. And so Wednesday, we're not even talking about rain around here. We're only talking about hot temperatures. Our temperatures will be back into the 90s by then. So you're looking at 93 degrees for the high temperature, and we'll start to see our conditions get a little bit better. And again, we'll keep those low rain chances as we head through the rest of the work week. All right, another look at the storm itself. Again, made landfall over toward Steinhatchee in Florida. Will continue to slide further off toward the north and east. You can already start to see a lot of that heavy rainfall moving into the southern portions of our state, where flood warnings are now in effect for our southern counties here, right along the border of Georgia and Florida. That's where we're starting to see those flood warnings now, with that heavy rain starting to push a little bit further off to the north. Keep in mind, this is to the north and east of the center of circulation. That's where you're going to have the greatest storm surge. That's where you're going to have the greatest impact as far as the rains go. And that's where you're going to have the greatest impact as far as those winds go. Notice that onshore flow coming in. And so it's on the eastern side of the eye of the center of circulation where you're going to have the greatest impact. Because this slides further off to the north and east, keeps the greatest impact away from here in North Georgia. Most of that will be the onshore flow coming in along our shoreline here, all right, from Savannah up into South Carolina. That's where you're going to get the brunt of the onshore flow. So you're talking about a lot of heavy rain, a lot of flooding, biggest impacts right along here. Your gustiest winds will be there as well. Around the center, okay, of course, we'll have some pretty strong winds as well. That will continue to slide up here toward the north and east. So again, away from us. On the back side of this is where you have that wraparound. It's the weaker side of the system. You notice not a lot of rain on that side of the system. You don't have onshore flow. You have land flow. So you're looking at minimal impacts. And so again, as the storm continues to push further off toward the east, nothing much here. That slides up and out. All right, moving back out to the Atlantic Ocean before it moves further up to the north over into Charleston, eventually into North Carolina. That is the latest track from the Hurricane Center. And so good news for us with this particular system, not making its way toward us. But there you go. Almost the entire center of circulation now making landfall. Making landfall there. It made landfall earlier this morning in the 6 o'clock hour, and now starting to see the eye itself continue to slide further inland. And now we'll be focused on the east side of the system, because that's where we're going to see the brunt of a lot of the action. Again, already feeling it though in places like Jacksonville and up toward Lake City. Let me move this radar a little bit here for you. I do want to just show you the southern portions, or the southern end of our state. Nice little close up here of that. And again, here is where the center of circulation is. There is the brunt of the rainfall, and now starting to push into places like Valdosta. Valdosta, no doubt, will be experiencing some flooding today. All right. Certainly flooding will take place today. They have hours to go with this heavy rainfall that's going to be making its way around. Now, I do think this eye, or the center of circulation, will start to slide a little bit more toward the east of Valdosta, for example, and head further over here toward the south and eastern portions of the state. But that will certainly do its damage as we got the heavy rain that's coming in. Again, no doubt flooding, some wind damage could be possible as well. And typically when you get a system like this coming in, you get these weak spin-ups, tornadoes, and most of the watches as far as tornadoes go are lining up along the coastline here, and for some of these southern portions, the southern states. Keep in mind, as it moves up, again, you get the friction of the winds coming in off the water and on shore, and you get some friction that takes place there, so you get those brief spin-ups, and that's what we're going to see as that continues to slide further off to the north. Once again, the impacts around here so far are very minimal, as the storm is still down to the south of us, but will continue to push further off to the north. We'll get the clouds in here as we head into mid-morning into early afternoon, and our rain chance is very, very low today. That rain chance only around 20 to 30% chance. So most of us will stay on the dry side today. You may get an isolated shower or thunderstorm that will pop up. Winds will be what we'll feel from this system, and I don't think it's going to cause much damage in the area at all, but at least we'll start to feel it. We'll feel those winds picking up 10 to 15 miles per hour, 20 to 25 miles per hour as far as the wind gusts are concerned. All right, and so keep it locked right here for the very latest. We'll keep you updated on the storm as it continues to move closer to our forecast area. If you know someone that lives in the southern or southeastern portions of the state, call them up, check on them, make sure they're okay, make sure they get to higher ground, so that any flooding that impacts their area, they'll be safe from. All right, and also grab some belongings or everything that you need, medications, that kind of thing, get them out the house. Okay. All right. Once again, North Georgia, we are looking like it will be fine from this storm as long as it stays on the latest path, and we'll bring you